It is expressed that depending where you look in the biblical, mind you, I'm going to have to say this very expresslessly of full knowledge and full awareness, more like just a random pick, if not a very precise convenience. What I'm trying to express is there's a moment in that history that speaks about a moment of today. Here, let me compare it to a legend, myth. I would ask you to look into the seven prophecy fires and the prophets of each that came with. One prophecy fire I really want to focus on comes during the first to second. During the first to second, and I think it comes on to the third one. What I'm trying to express is that if you do your research, look it up, you'll find the connections. What I'm trying to express is one of the particular fires spoke about. Well, the first fire speaks about how the people on well, the native land, on how they would journey outward and be guided to areas that would pretty much be their homes, that they would eventually come to learn that they're in the right place for the right moments on increments of moments, such as arrow to another area, like 100 years, decades, how you want to express that. Then another one spoke about a young child coming into the territory, coming to be born, that will learn what would be known as today the tradition laws, tradition teachings, tradition of spirit, and from that to each his own expansion of time to time, and that's like putting it in the most, I guess, way that would be the least respected, but known. So spirits, make wish for allowing what you are able to, depending on certain areas in it. But what I would like to express is more along the lines of the strength. What happened during that process is that the spiritual strength, especially along the lines of what gave the spirituality strength, was diminished. Not to say it wasn't there; it was just weakened. Like let's consider a pond. A pond that's like shaken. It has bigger waves, such as a bigger flow of current. So that would be more like the strength, I think. The idea is, okay, now let's put it this way. More the waves, more disrupting equals less strength and calm and peace in what would make a smoother passage, such as a wind coming through gently, or maybe a duck or a bird just gently going on the water, on the surface. And that would be the time I'm trying to express is during that transition. It took mention how the strength was lost, how in his own definition, his own in their own understanding, they spoke about a strength that was diminished, that was weakened, that was still there but was not as it was. What I'm trying to express is the time we're currently in. And I'm not trying to put anyone down or anything, much less my own insecure biasness. And thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for bearing with me. I'll have to put it like this. Our is what still can be is not where it could be. I'm not saying that it isn't or it isn't reachable. however you want to express that or explain that, is in our grasp. Now, depending on the usage of a lack of better understanding, full knowledge on, there's this biblical verse between Isaiah 40 and Isaiah 55, no, 45. Those more expertise in it could express their their knowledge. Their knowledge. Again, I'm gonna have to really let it be known that I got what would be considered an egotistical problem and insecurities, but I'm gonna attempt to reach out, attempt to do things. Yeah, miigwech. Thank you. Amen. But what I'm trying to express is that there's this sacred teaching that let's put it this way. The Bible talked about a verse on a fire, the element of fire, and how it's being used in its own representation. What I got from it was that we don't bring everything before to the Great Spirit. We don't bring anything before what would be ideally a process of a ceremony or a great event, a great event that would welcome all into it. I gotta say and take mention right now that that's just my expression, my perspective, and thus said, I do understand if it brings other people's mind or understanding to a bit of a worry, such as I'm trying to maybe destroy the traditions or things like that, or trying to mess with things. I'm just trying to express is that uh, I apologize for the inconvenience of some perspectives, some views. I understand that they do bring strength. I'm not lying that they don't. It's more along the lines as such as if you look into the first, second, and third prophecy fighters, and all three of their own prophets spoke about a diminish of strength, and that a young kid, a young boy came through to teach a new passage, a new understanding, and that which brought strength back. And there's a little piece in biblical if you can find it. I'll find it later. Will emphasize what I'm trying to express, depending if that's the right area. Um, all right, I got one more info. Now, bear with me, and I'm also going to be serious in this one because I don't fully know the heritage, much less the proper practices. Would invite my narrative, my expression, my I guess relearning, reevaluation as criticize disrespect, and he doesn't know what he's talking about, or they don't know what they're talking about. And believe me, I completely understand. So that said, what I'm about to open-heartedly express might kind of agitate some minds. All right, I'll give you a few seconds to prepare, and it begins with incest. All right, because I don't know how it's done in certain areas or how it's me, how my response would get other people upset would be more along the lines of how they do it respectfully in their own respectfully representation and understanding of the uniqueness of the incest. And I'm not talking about the factory made in certain areas of the world. It's more along the lines that how during the process and how it's used. There's a Bible verse that talks about it being a bit of a opposition, bit of a, let's say, let's just put it this way. It's more like an off repellent for like bugs, and that's the most rudest way to express it. But it's more like, let's just put it this way. There's another Bible verse that says it's not how it's born to be good or evil; it's how it's used. So that said, is that I think personally I lack the personal understanding and fundamentals. I'm just going from what I gather. That said, I I ought to respect the ancestors more, and not to get a bit smarty here. I express that that's what exactly this Bible verse speaks about. It says, I think it's Jesus speaking it, that says, I do not burden you with incest um, offerings. Those that will do their research depending on where and how and when, much less those who truly can't understand. I'm not saying I don't, or maybe I'm not saying I do. My knowledge is. I'm on a very narrow pathway. But anyways, I think I think it's how it's being used as more the representation of the the statement in the verse. Uh, the leading point I can take you to would be Isaiah. And I think it's in 40 to 45. Now, yeah, me which those I know that know. Okay, yeah. Yes, I'll just kind of express what I know now. So that said, if you would see me, I would be kind of bowing in response of more of a respect of knowledge to express that I apologize for any inconvenient stress, disturbance I may have caused. But with all due respect, from I'm trying to help, and believe me. Thank you. Okay, so with this report tapped in, miigwech. Amen.